So with any rental property, there's always something crazy that can take your business a little bit sideways, right? What happens if a tenant actually dies in your property? What do you do then? That's what we're talking about today. Hey there, I'm Sue Richey. Welcome back to my channel. For those of you that don't know me, I own a residential property management company and I'm a real estate investor. And today's topic is a sensitive one for sure, but this has happened to us recently. So I thought it was worth talking about and explaining a little bit about what you do if a tenant dies in your property. It's a sensitive subject. Oftentimes you don't know what to do, but today I'm going to walk you through some of the steps you can take and how you can create an actionable plan to handle the situation and get your property back on track with a new tenant. Now, first I want to say that I am not a legal advisor, so this is just based on our experience and our consultations with different kinds of professionals and in handling the situation that we had. So if this happens to you, I would highly recommend asking an attorney, and you will certainly be involved with various kinds of people. So make sure you get the right consultation and make sure you do it right in your area, in your state. Okay, so first let's talk about some of the legal steps that you need to take. First of all, you may not even know that this has happened for quite some time. I mean, you might get a call from a family member who, has been trying to reach the tenant, hasn't heard from them, and maybe you just haven't received your rent and you have no idea what's going on and not hearing back, and you go over to the property and let's say that you find this tenant. Well, the first thing you're going to want to do is call the authorities, because no matter what the situation, even if it's a natural cause of death, you need to notify the police so that they can make a report and start the process there. Okay, the second thing you're going to want to do, especially if you're the one to find them and you didn't get, a notice from a family member, is to find that person's emergency contact. We generally keep that emergency contact in our system for all of the tenants. Hopefully you have this as part of your lease process, that you have some emergency contact number. I would call that number and just let them know what has happened, and they will be able to notify other family members and any other legal counsel that they need to get in touch with on their end. The next thing you're going to want to do is to review your lease agreement and also look at state-specific laws, because these will dictate and guide you into when can you get possession back, what can you do with the tenant's belongings, and when. And those are a lot of the questions that you're going to have because you don't know, and there are rules around it. So make sure you look into what those rules are. And this is where it may be helpful to contact an attorney to guide you through this, because you need to make sure that you give other people enough time in order to get things out of the property. Then you can take possession and do what you need to do with it. Okay, the next thing you're going to want to do is you want to secure that property. So after the police have been there and they've filed their report and they've done their part, you want to then secure the property. If you need to change the locks, do that, because you want to protect the tenant's possessions in the event that someone else has a key. Who knows? I mean, anything can happen, right? And you don't want to be responsible for that. So make sure the property is secure. The next thing you're going to want to do is wait for probate. So in most cases, the deceased tenant's estate will handle all of this process. And you may be working with the executor to handle unpaid rent, that's owed, or whatever the situation is, and kind of clearing out of the property and all of that. But you want to make sure that you be patient, don't rush this process, and just work within the guidelines of the law and work with the executor and other family members to just follow the process and just be helpful where you can. Okay, so like I said, this just happened to us recently, which is why I thought it was important to make this video, because what happened here was quite complicated. And while I can't go into a lot of details about this specific situation, it did take a lot of digging to find even the next of kin, and then eventually finding the person who was inheriting essentially the possessions. And we worked closely with this person to pay the unpaid rent. There were other possessions that needed to be sold and disposed of. So we worked very closely with this person and it all worked out. And we were able to get the property vacated and cleaned up and, updated and turned over. And now there is a new tenant. But, I think this has happened a long, long time ago. But this is something that doesn't happen quite so frequently. We manage about 1,000 properties. I've been doing this for almost 30 years and still, it doesn't happen every day, but when it does happen, you've got to know what to do. Okay, so let's say you've got all of the legal things in motion, right? And now you've got to deal with the belongings and possessions of the tenants. And again, you may be working with someone, but even together, it's important that you really document what's in the property. So take extensive photos, take video, point things out, talk in the video. You don't ever want to be accused of taking something that a family member could come back and say, hey, you stole that. You don't ever want that to happen. So make sure you really carefully inventory everything and document it. Okay, the next thing you want to do is coordinate with the executor. Like I said, you're going to be working closely with this person. You want to make sure you work together to remove all the possessions and the belongings. And there are guidelines and timeframes in which a lot of this must happen. So you want to just learn about and talk to and understand those state laws about the timing of all of that. Okay, the next thing you're going to want to do now that the property is vacant is to just do what you would normally do in a turnover, and that is to deep clean the property and do any repairs. Depending on the nature of the death, there could be more cleanup involved than might be if it was a different kind of death. So depending on that, you're going to want to do certain kinds of deep cleaning. And then just do what you would do and get that property ready to go and start marketing it again to get your next tenant. Okay, and then the next step is just like you would any other property, is getting your property back on track, which means marketing that property. Now your property is empty, you've done all the fix-ups you need to do, it's fresh and clean and ready to go. So do everything you would do. Market the property, make sure it's priced well, take great photos, advertise it, do good tenant screening, and get your next tenant in, hopefully quickly, and get yourself back on track with income coming in the door. So, like I said, I know this isn't something that happens every day, but if it is, I hope this video gave you some insight, because we learn something new every day as well. And every situation like this is different. Sometimes there's an executor. Sometimes it's easy to find the next of kin. Sometimes this happens and a lot of time goes by, and then there's a lot more cleanup to do at the property. There's just all different kinds of situations. But the biggest thing is make sure you know the state laws that you must follow and the legal process if this happens, so that you don't do anything in haste because you want to get your property rented again, and then now you've created another problem later. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. If you like our channel, I hope you will subscribe. I try to produce more and more videos. If there's anything that's of interest to you that you want to learn more about, please share it within the comments, and I will try to create some more videos around that. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.